Hi, I just wanted to do a little video about poverty consciousness, which basically means a mindset of being poor, quite simply. So I think it is actually a problem for a lot of people, myself included. And I think there's a lot of reasons why, but I'll just try and quickly go into a few. I think number one, it comes from childhood, really. So a lot of children, I think, are brought up being told, we can't afford this, you can't have this, we can't afford this. And it kind of gets drilled into your subconscious. So especially before the age of about 10. So I think they say between 0 to 7 is the most important age for your subconscious mind. So the things that are going on around you and what's being said to you and put in your mind is going to stick with you throughout your whole life, no matter what comes after. So, you could be loaded from the age of 15, but probably you're still deep down going to have this mindset slightly of poverty consciousness, and it can hold people back a lot, I think. So yeah, it's just how to get around it. I think it's not easy. You need to try and reprogram your mind, basically. So affirmations, I don't know, hypnotism, that kind of thing. I don't know how you do it really, but I'm trying. But I think also the other thing is that our society, some people kind of think that it's not spiritual to have money as well. So I would say I'm quite a spiritual person, and that seems to be kind of hand in hand often with not having much. So it's like, you should be able to be happy without much stuff. And that's true. I do think that is important. However, at the same time, I think money is power, and if you are able to help people, if you have got more money behind you, you're going to be able to make more of a difference in the world. You're going to be able to use that for positive outcomes for yourself, your family, and even just generally, society. So it just gives you a lot more opportunities to make a difference. So I think in that regards, it is maybe more important to try and get some behind you in one way or another. The other thing I think maybe that people get wrong is that they have to really work like all the hours God sends, and be a workaholic in order to have money. Now, I don't think that's necessarily true at all. A lot of people who are very wealthy make the money work for them. So, obviously they have a head start, but I do think being creative and thinking of great ideas is much more important than, working 100 hours a week or whatever. Even though some people do, if they set up their own business, end up doing that. But I don't think it's necessarily the only way. So yeah, I think guilt as well. People have guilt associated with having a lot of money. They think maybe it's going to make other people jealous or not like them. I mean, that can be true actually. So that's not necessarily wrong. It's interesting when people win the lottery. It seems to be a very, very common story. I've seen many, many articles. One was recently about a couple who were divorcing 10 years after winning the lottery. They won about the jackpot, 4 million or maybe even more than that. It was an insane amount of money, and they thought they'd be set up for life, but it didn't work that way. And I would say having a poverty mindset and consciousness was probably one of the issues. They might not even realize that themselves, but it's most likely that they just deep down did not feel worthy of it. And it's like self-sabotage. I think people kind of end up getting themselves back to where they feel they belong, where they feel comfortable, and that may be a place where they don't have much. I think she even said that they were worse off, or she felt worse off than before they won it. So, it's interesting, isn't it, that people think that's their dream to win the lottery, but in reality, they're often not really equipped and prepared for it. So if you don't know how to invest properly and how to, you know, kind of get the money to work for you. And obviously you're going to be much more of a target because you're not used to having money. You're going to be more of a target for probably dodgy investments and things like that as well. So you've got to have your wits about you. Yeah, I definitely think that people sometimes don't realize what they're doing because it is all subconscious, but it's what you're used to. So from being a child, if you didn't have much and you were told, you know, you can't afford this, you can't afford that, it's like that's what you get used to. That's your comfort zone. That becomes, whether you like it or not, just what you're used to. So most people end up wanting to be in that comfort zone, weirdly enough, you know. And it's very, very hard to kind of break away from that, I think. So the same way that some people can be addicted to drama and very dramatic relationships. So if you grew up as a child with violent parents or parents who were always arguing and surrounded by all this drama all the time, I think without realizing it, a lot of those people will choose partners who give them that kind of relationship, even if it ends up being very unhealthy and toxic. They feel as though that is normal, and that is for them normal anyway, and what they are used to, and kind of what, you know, how it should be. Yeah. So these are all things to watch out for. And if you do realize you're doing it, it's very, very hard to stop yourself, but you do need to try and reprogram the subconscious mind and get away from these kind of self-sabotaging patterns that so many people are in. And yeah, I think the more people that try and do that and work on that, the better the world will be.